Hey guys, yeah, the RAMZPAUL show. It's a little bit late. Usually on Mondays, I have it at 11 a.m., or at least that's the goal. And I had to delay it today. I guess I'll explain a lot of it. It's just been a lot of stuff happening. First of all, as you can see, I'm in Fayetteville, and Sasha's in the process of moving all of her stuff, and there's a lot to our house together. So you see a lot of boxes here and everything. And she needs to be out by the end of the month, right? And it's amazing how things happen at the worst time. I was taking a load of her stuff back on Thursday. This was before the storm, right? Before a big storm coming in, and like a couple inches of snow in Arkansas is a big storm because they're not prepared for it. So I had a big load. I came to here to Fayetteville in my car. It's a Subaru 2008 Outback, just so you know. It's an old car, like 140,000 miles on it. And I like it. I like Subarus, all-wheel drive. It's a pretty good car, although I'm starting to have issues with it. Get here fine, load up the car, and all of a sudden, turned it on, turned on the ignition, started to go, and I was getting a really bad misfire. I could tell. And I'm like, oh shit. And I thought it's probably a spark plug went bad or whatever. And so I took it to the mechanic. And then I said, well, Sasha, I need to get back to the house, but we only have two cars, and both of the cars were originally mine. Okay, so we have the 2008 Outback, and she's got my old mom's car. It's like a 2003 Toyota, if you can believe that. That was hit. It was a couple of, we had an accident on college, and it wasn't Sasha's fault. These guys went through, I won't say the race, they went through a red light and hit her. And it was just crazy, although we couldn't prove it because we didn't have cameras. It just sucked. But so the car is still going, but it's all banged up, the little Toyota. So I said, okay, Sasha, if you bring me back to my place, I could do my streaming and all that. Then the storm hit, and I was kind of like trapped there because Sasha couldn't get the car where I live when it storms, just because it's really rural and dirt roads a whole bit. I didn't really mind. But it was just a pain to get out. And she went to pick me up today, and the car briefly got stuck even today. And so we had to push that out. So it was a pain in the ass. And I had to go back to Fayetteville to check out my car on the Subaru. What they think it is, they don't know for sure, but carbon is built up, over time in the engine, and they're trying to clean that out. I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case. If it's not the carbon thing, if it's like a head gasket or a valve or something like that, that would be a very expensive process. You'd have to take apart the engine. And I'm at the point now, I keep cars forever. That's my personality. I'm not one of those guys to trade in and trade out every year. So I'm finally will bite the bullet. If it's a serious engine problem, I will probably buy a new car. I don't know. What do you guys recommend? I always like Subarus because they handle well in the snow, all-wheel drive. They're really reliable cars. I'll probably do that, but unless you guys have another suggestion. So we will see if cleaning out the engine removes the carbon. And I checked the AI tool on X, Grok. It's a great tool, and it kind of helped diagnose it too. And that can happen, especially with older Subarus. You get a lot of carbon gunk in there, and it can prevent the valves from closing properly. So I hope that's the solution, because that'd be a lot cheaper. I don't think I'm going to have the engine torn apart, though. I probably will just buy a new car if that comes to it. I didn't really want to do that, have to sell some stock or whatever. But then I figured, what the hell? I'm not going to live forever. Why am I hoarding this stock and money? I'll be dead in, I don't know, 20 years or something. So what's the point? So I think I'll get it. So if I get a new car, it'll probably be for the rest of my life. So I might do that. I was kind of excited about that. And Sasha was thinking about buying another car too. And she's got a little money from her dad, and so that'd be good if we finally have two new cars at work. That'd be great, because it's been one thing after another. And I apologize, I felt really bad. This guy on X said, oh, your schedule's all mixed up, and I'm like, I know, it's just been this back and forth with my car forever. And Sasha's moving in. I hope by February 1st, so I could get more on a normal schedule. And I have updated my schedule just to try to make the show more fresh. I do the morning show usually. Today's show is usually in the morning, so we get the morning people. Friday evening, I do a show, the RAMZPAUL show. Wednesday night, I'm doing a show with Alicia, Happy Homelands. We're still working on that, the format. If you guys have ideas, just let me know on that. I'm not sure if I want to make that a heavy political show. And then Sasha and I, we do the night owls whenever. And then tomorrow, Tuesday, if you're part of the Substack, we always do a roundtable. And we do it either Tuesday evening or Tuesday at noon. We alternate the weeks because the Europeans is better in the daytime. So that's tomorrow at noon, although everyone's welcome. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of good people. So I have the roundtable tomorrow, Wednesday, Happy Homelands, and then Friday, the usual RAMZPAUL show. I hope to get, once I get back in the house and I get my car, start doing the more videos. But in lieu of that, if you check out, I've been pretty good every day. I've been updating and creating a column every day or an essay on Substack. Check out the Substack. Let me put it here. Substack is my new tool. I've been trying to get the word out. It has a couple of functions. There's a free function, you know, so it's might as well sign up for free if nothing else. And most of my, and there it is right there. The, what did I do? That didn't come out right. Sign up. I'll just update this. Let me put this link out again here. There's a free function where you can, you know, see a lot of my essays. Kind of what I'm going to do is like every Friday, I'll do an essay just for my members. I appreciate those people. And then we just have the roundtables. If you want to be part of the roundtable, join the Substack too as a member. And I do some special videos for the people at Substack. I was on Gumroad and Group App. I still am on those platforms, but I'm migrating off just because Gumroad has a lot of technical problems. I would send out emails in Gumroad and people wouldn't get them till like a day later. So I'm like, yeah, to hell with that. So Substack is where it's all going to be. So hope to get on a more consistent schedule here pretty soon. And as Robert mentioned, for Trump's inauguration, I will do at a stream about that too. That should be pretty good. So thank you for being here. I already did prep early this morning before all the car stuff popped up, so I can kind of go over some of the prep stuff. And obviously, here we go, Holy Ghost. Candace Owens has been on fire lately on X. Do you think she's an ally? Your thoughts. Also, Toyota is the best brand around for value. My inner actuary speaking. I like a Toyota. Toyotas are good brands. The only reason I kind of prefer a Subaru, the one I have now, is they have all-wheel drive, and I like, in case it's snowy. We don't get a lot of snow, just so you understand the Arkansas, the Ozark climate. It's really where I live is considered subtropical, the weather. Most of the year is quite warm and it's quite wet. There's a lot of rain that happens here. The snow is only really, we could get snow in December, but it's usually January and February, and it's not a lot. We get maybe 5 storms a year, and they're usually pretty mild. But still, I need something reliable to get through the snow. But the Toyotas can be good too. So maybe Sasha will get a Toyota. I'll get a Subaru. I don't know. We will see. But yeah, my mom had that Toyota, and it was in really good condition. She was like the little old lady that just took her car to go to the grocery store, and that's literally what she did. So she kept it in good shape. There was almost like no miles on it. And so it's a great around car town, but it's getting old and it's kind of beat up. So yeah, Candace Owens, she blocked me years ago. She's kind of done an evolution from where she used to be. In the old days, I don't know if you guys knew, she was kind of more on the left, and she had a doxing website she set up. This was years ago. And she definitely has changed quite a bit. but I just saw a super chat for Donald Joy. What's orange and looks good on hippies? What's orange and looks good on hippies? I don't know. What's the punchline on that? I don't know what's that. I was thinking of Agent Orange from the Vietnam War, but yeah. So let me know the punchline. Yeah, Candace, getting back to Candace Owens, so I think she's, I don't follow her that much. I remember they had that whole white nationalist conference. You remember that? She represented the white nationalist. That's kind of bizarre. I guess she's married to a white guy too. Many such cases, and yeah, I guess she's okay now. I'm not really quite sure. She's one of those things. A lot of the people that advocate for white people are not whites, and I think that gives them a little bit of a shield, somewhat. But we, as white people, need to learn that it's okay to advocate for ourselves, and it's amazing how it's just taboo to do that. Sasha was just talking today about it. She was on, I don't know. I'm not going to dox where she was posting. It wasn't on X. It was, I don't know where she was. Was it Facebook? I don't know. I'll have to ask her. But Sasha, she's in line with me politically, but she does a lot of other things besides politics. Obviously, she has interest in hobbies and so forth, and she likes movies. And Donald Joy, fire! Paul, you told that joke at Amarin when you gave your Doctor Enlightenment speech. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's an old joke. I forgot all about that. Yeah, thank you for that. Fires looks good on hippies. That was a fun speech. That was, God, how many years ago? That's like 10 years ago. Yeah, thank you, Donald Joy, on that. But yeah, Sasha was doing, I think it was on movies or something. She was some forum talking about movies. And she was saying how she hates old movies when they just try to do the same movie but replace the white characters. And Sasha said, this is crazy. They would never do that with any other race. They're just replacing white people. She didn't care if they're having other minorities do their shows, but don't replace us. That's just white erasure. And it caused everyone, just to clutch their pearls and gasp. So there's a lot of people that are still pretty normy about everything. But yeah, so we got to be able to take our own interest without having a proxy. All right. And I was thinking of that because Jesse Lee Peterson, actually, I was going to review this by him. He's the black guy that's kind of on our side in many ways. And Karen Bass is that, I guess, the mayor of Los Angeles, who was in Africa when all these fires started. And that's the question. Why does the mayor of a city, Los Angeles, need to be in Africa? I don't, the taxpayers paid for that too. She has some bullshit reason. And this is what happens with a lot of the politicians. They go on what they call, quote, fact-finding missions. And it's a way you guys can pay for their vacations. And she said, Karen Bass doesn't have to be prepared or qualified or answer any questions. She's a black and a woman. She can always cry racism. In case you don't know, Jesse Lee Peterson is black. He even says himself, I'm black as a spade. And misogyny, and give an emotional talk, and people will vote for her again. Let's take a look at this.
Mayor, LA County is in a panic state. It began 2 days ago with the Palisades fire. My crew and I arrived shortly after it started. And for several hours, we watched as hundreds of homes in a neighborhood burned to the ground. We did not see a single fire engine. We watched as Good Samaritans guided traffic. There was fear and there was a lot of confusion. You were out of the country at the time. Shortly after the fire started, a press release was put out warning of this fire behavior. My question to you is, what explains this lack of preparation and rapid response?
Let me just say, first and foremost, my number one focus, and I think the focus of all of us here with one voice is that we have to protect lives, we have to save lives, and we have to save homes.
All right, that's not answering his question. I haven't seen this. We'll see if she answers it. That's a nice platitudes to say, but he was asking why were they not prepared? They get good money. Firemen in Los Angeles, they get really good benefits, and it's pretty easy work for the most part because they don't really have that many fires. So, yeah, and it's almost impossible as a white man to get now on the fire department because of DEI policies, which are racial discrimination against whites, especially white men.
Rest assured that
But
when
that could not
rest
happen.
assured, let me finish. Rest assured, when that is done, when we are safe, when lives have been saved and homes have been saved, we will absolutely do an evaluation to look at what worked, what didn't work, and to correct or to hold accountable any body, department, individual, etc. But my focus right now is on the lives and on the homes.
Do you think your leadership was effective while responding to this disaster?
I just said what I believe is the most important thing for us to do right now, and that is going to continue to be my focus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, part of the issue is they can't really fix the problem because the problem is, let's see here. Oops. Fire is fake. Wake up, sheeple. That sounds like an Owen Benjamin take. Does Owen Benjamin believes in fire? I don't know. He doesn't believe the earth is a sphere, so maybe there's fire deniers. Yeah, the fire gods are mad because we haven't gave enough tax money to fight climate change. It makes the fire gods angry. If we just sacrifice more virgins, maybe the fire gods would be appeased. It's the same thing. Yeah, it can't really be fixed because I did an essay on this today on Substack if you want to read it, but you can't, people make a civilization. And a civilization, first of all, is a people, a genetic people. And they have a way of looking at the world and they create laws and policies and all that, which then is part of the civilization. But people come first, and then from that, you get the government and the religion and policies, which help to govern the people. But a lot of people, they get that mixed up. They think, oh, the Constitution makes the people and changes them. And it doesn't. We know that because Liberia, an African country that was founded on the United States Constitution, almost identically, it devolved into savagery and cannibalism. So it's not a written piece of paper or just the trappings of it. It's the people that make a difference. And what we're seeing in Los Angeles, and not just Los Angeles, but elsewhere in America, I would say most of the Western countries, are they're trying to replace the people so the people had institutions that created, for the most part, a very prosperous society. And their error is, well, we can replace the people and we'll still have the good institutions that create a nice society that they want to live in, like where you put out fires and you manage things properly. That was the idea. So the people create stuff like fire departments and procedures and everything. And they think, well, if we just have those procedures and policies and institutions, we can change the people because people are interchangeable. We're like widgets. There's no difference between people. That's the idea of equality. No matter what ethnic group you're from, magically humans are exactly the same. Now, we don't believe that with other animals, right? We would never believe that about dog breeds. We don't think a greyhound is the same as a poodle. We think they're very different. They have different IQs. They have different abilities. Sheepdogs are a lot different. They all have strengths and weaknesses, but for whatever reason, people, we think, have to be exactly the same, but they're not. And that's the problem we had. So the people that made these institutions that made the United States and prosperous, or Los Angeles in this case, have been primarily replaced. And they've been in replaced by people like Karen Bass, who maybe is a nice lady, but she's not up to the task. And so everything starts to crumble. And that's the primary problem that really can't be fixed unless you change the people the other way again. And I don't think that's going to happen, right? If she should stay back in Africa and never come back, and then we deport everyone, then we get to the demographics of, let's say, 1960, right? So if Los Angeles were to go back to the demographics of 1960, yeah, then the institutions would work really well again. And the reservoirs wouldn't go dry, and the firemen would actually be responsive, because they back then they did have wildfires. Despite all this propaganda about climate change, like somehow because the earth is getting warmer, things are just spontaneously catching on fire. It's nonsense. We've had wildfires ever since I can remember as a kid in Southern California. It's just part of the environment there. But the difference is, in previous decades, you had people that were competent that could deal with this issue. Now we have people there. Those people are primarily gone. And we have people that are incompetent or not up to the task trying to manage these institutions. So, and there is a cargo cult type of thing, meaning they have the trappings. So even though they can't pass the test and they can't pass the physical or mental test, they don't care. They just put them in. Then they put on the uniform, they put on the badge. They think that makes them a real fireman, but it really doesn't. They're just kind of LARPing. Be like if a little kid did that. It doesn't really make them that, but they think it makes them that. But reality is not fooled. So this is why we have the problem. And so this idea, I think the problem is like, well, we just have a bunch of incompetent people. We just have to put competent people in there. Yeah, but how do you do that with the current demographics? That would be you just really can't. And so this is the problem that has happened. And a lot of the rich white people, again, I wrote my Substack about this. They kind of lived in what I call like a green zone, in a bubble. They had private security. They were away from all the riffraff, and they continued on like it was still 1985, because to them it still kind of was. They had everyone else manage the problem. They didn't have to deal with everything. But then when something like this happens, reality hits them, and they are upset about that. Sadly, another thing that has happened a lot different. Let me just see here. Oh, I got a super chat, so thank you. Happy to send some tradie bucks. Waiting for constant material to skyrocket once the rebuilding of Hiroshima begins. We should have listened to Ron Paul. Yeah, Ron Paul. Little trivia, he's the only guy, and thank you very much for your donation. Go to the car, and go to my new car fund here. Ron Paul, he's the only politician I've ever given money to. This is a trivia. Years ago when he was running for office, I got really excited about him. And he's a great guy. So he's old, but he's still pretty sharp. And yeah, that's the case there. All right. So sadly, another reason how things have changed here, let's take a look at how things have changed because of demographics. Santa Monica police released mugshots of suspects accused of trying to loot during California wildfires. And here they are. These are, of course, suspects are not guilty until, proven in court. But these are the mugshots of the nice individuals that decided to help, in a time of crisis, they decided to step, you would think they would step up and try to help each other, but no, they see there's a weakness here. So all these people, they have dead eyes. I don't think one has an IQ in triple digits. Some, probably average IQ here is around 80, maybe. And this is one of the differences we saw this even going back to Hurricane Katrina, if you remember that in New Orleans. When the disaster happened, certain groups of people, they said, oh my God, there's a disaster here. We've got to get out of the city. Let's take refuge in the Superdome. We will divide the functions. Maybe the women will tend to the wounded. We will break up, have some guys look to try to get fresh water and food, and other people try to scat out. Other will do security. There's people that really organize and try to help each other. Then there's other people when a disaster happens. Their first instinct is, yay, can we loot? I can loot beer. And it's like, yay, I can sexually molest women because there's no police around. That's their first go-to. That's where they would go to without the rule of law. And that's where people are different. Because if you get in nice traditional America, you can almost not have any rule of law and people aren't going to behave in a savage manner. Occasionally you'll have some guy do that. That's why you do need like the sheriff or whatever. But in general, people are going to help out each other, and because that's how they live. So it'd be like if you see a couple young women and they're broke down on the side of the road, at least my people, my ancestors, my family, we would think, uh-oh, let's pull over and help them. They're in need. Let's see if we can help these girls to get on their way, and refuse any money to say, hey, no, we're here to help you. That would be our mindset. Other mindsets are, hey, they're vulnerable. There's no police around. Let's rob them, and maybe we could sexually molest them. Right? This is a different way of looking at things. And you can't have a good society when you have too many in the latter category. And that's what we're seeing right now. And so it is... That is what disasters bring out, the type of people, sadly. And just take a look at this here. And there's been I guess quite a bit of looting here. The current state of affairs in Los Angeles. Attempted break-in, reported persons set fire to property, 3 masked men breaking into property. All this happening. So if there's people are leaving their homes, their lives are upended, a lot of people see this as an opportunity to take advantage of these people and harm them. And these people really, you can't have many of these people in your society and have a good, prosperous society. Yeah, you'll always have some. We're not in utopia. So even if you were in Norway with a homogeneous population and a high trust society, you will occasionally get the weirdo criminal that will act poorly. But sadly, this is the occasional one-off. We're seeing with some groups, this is just the standard behavior. And let's just take, this guy I thought had a good comment on this. It really is remarkable how quickly the illusions of modern liberalism evaporate once the social order collapses. California fire started on Tuesday. Within literal hours, the looting began. Groups of men, that's the euphemism they use, were pulling up to homes in masses by the hundreds, according to some eyewitnesses, in cars and scooters across Los Angeles. Whenever the fire burned, they appeared. So again, the old days, let's say the Great Chicago Fire in the 19th century, a lot of the men would show up, but the men would show up with fire brigades. They were there to help, to put out the fires, to help people. But you get a whole different group of people. They're there to take advantage of their first situation. This was their first instinct, their primal reflex in the Hobbesian state of nature. Others secured the safety of family and friends, helped neighbors evacuate, even volunteered to aid affected communities, but not the looters. The very instance they were no longer constrained by the law, they reverted to violent anarchism. And civilization does not live equally within everyone. That is true. And he goes on to saying how this happens. And this is a fundamental problem we have. So to fix the problem, you can't have these people living among us. It's just that simple. You're not going to fix these people. Some of it, I believe, is genetic, and some of it may be behavioral. But we don't have time to figure out what's what. We shouldn't have to be stuck with that. Let's see here. So thank you. This diversity struck in LA. It's like a third world country now. Well, yeah. I always found this amazing. So if you replace the people in Los Angeles with Mexicans, what do you have? You have Mexico, right? If you replace them with Indians, what do you have? Like in Canada, you have India. The people make the culture. People are the number one ingredient. Now, I'm not saying that laws and policies and economic systems, they are important, but they're downstream from genetics. So you have genetics, which creates the customs, mores, and culture, and then you have your civilization. It doesn't go the other way around. You can't have your customs and mores somehow fix genetics. It's just not going to happen. Or I don't even know if I should use the word fix, but you're not going to change them to be like you. They're different people. And again, you can manage it on a small basis when they're an extreme minority. You can work it okay. But once it gets to a certain tipping point, like Los Angeles has reached, it's not possible. Like even in the 1970s, Los Angeles wasn't 100% like white or anything like that, but it still was able to operate as a first world society. And this happens, I don't care if it's London, LA, Toronto, this happens over and over and over. It shouldn't even be a debate anymore because it's not a theoretical discussion. We actually have evidence. Every time, without exception, when you replace the people, you do not keep the same culture. And it's a source of frustration because the people move here because they like our culture. But then when they replace us, our culture disappears and they end up back in a shithole, like where they came from. And they get angry about that. So they like the prosperity, they like the freedom, they like the civilization we create, but they don't like us. But you can't have our civilization without us. And so this is part of the issue here. Then we have this, I called him the Justin Trudeau of America, and that's Newsom. Maybe Newsom, guys, if you're in California, maybe Californians see this guy different than the rest of us. But when I see Newsom, I asked Sasha about it. Her first instinct was, okay, this is a very oily, used car salesman type of guy. And I hate that, I have a lot of Californian viewers. It's a beautiful state. I love a lot of people there. But there is sort of a reputation in California that they're all kind of fake people, and he comes across very Californian, not a very genuine person. And I don't know if Californians can see it or not, but he comes across as very fake.
To keep people safe, no looting, zero tolerance for looting.
Okay, zero tolerance for looting. Well, let's watch it.
That's why these guys are out here, and I'm very grateful for them, particularly for these critical checkpoints that allow law enforcement to move more mobily and do the interior work.
But the problem with him, and I agree with that. Actually, I think looters should be shot on sight. But the problem with him saying that, this is the guy that made it legal for people to loot in California. And the reason is because that career criminal George Floyd died. And because of that, Black Lives Matter, and we shouldn't put blacks into prison. And blacks, if you look at the statistics, there's a lot of them getting arrested. So the way to fix this is just don't arrest them or prosecute them anymore. That's what San Francisco did, and many, California in general did. And what happened? Well, we've seen all the videos. It went over and over. The videos of gangs, looting gangs, crime gangs would descend upon a store like locusts and rip off everything. And the people in the stores, they were told not to do anything. And the police didn't even bother to show up because why? If they would arrest them, in Gavin Newsom's California, they would just immediately go free. Immediately. There's no penalty. So Gavin Newsom created the situation. He advocated policies of allowing looters not to be punished. So now he's trying to act like he's all tough and he's not going to tolerate looting. Well, it's a little bit late for that, Gavin. But that's what he was doing there. So, yeah, old Gavin Newsom. I do think that his presidential ambitions went up in smoke, no pun intended, this week. I can't imagine people now voting for Gavin on a national basis. This is, I think, destroyed him. California now has a really bad look. And I don't even know if he's popular in California. This was something they were having I don't know if you guys saw this, an event. And a lot of people in California don't even like this guy. And it's tough because California, because of diversity, it's a one-party state now. And this is what you get in a one-party state. So let's take a look here.
Governor Gavin Newsom. What's that?
Feel the love.
Oh, yeah. You guys might enjoy this one. Governor Gavin Newsom recently told... Guys, he's not here. Fresh from Supercuts, Gavin Newsom recently told Walgreens that Walgreens is no longer welcome in the state of California, so Californians will now have to shoplift at Rite Aid.
That's a funny guy. I didn't see that video, but that's pretty good. So yeah, I don't even know how popular Gavin is there. I don't know if it really matters, but it's pretty crazy what a poor job he's done. Exactly. My family left Latin America not to live there, but here, if they wanted to live there, they wouldn't have left in the first place. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. We have a lot of Hispanic people that have been in America for generations. There really have been. Los Angeles, like before the Civil War, I'm reading about the Civil War, it was a small city, but it was mostly Hispanic. So there was always a Hispanic presence there. And a lot of the original Hispanic people, they don't want to see everyone else brought in. And by the way, when we say the invasion, it's just not Mexicans. It's Hondurans, Costa Rica, Venezuela, and a lot of different other people. So yeah, people don't want America to be replaced. They came here for a reason. That's why they don't want to go back. And it's always interesting. One of the most scary things for people that are not white is if you suggest they should have to live with their own people. It's like, no, not that. That's cruel. Don't let me live with those people. It's kind of interesting because they always say how white people are evil, white supremacists, and oh, you just scare us. You're so dangerous. And we demand to live next to you. It's like, it's not really adding up, but whatever. So yeah, Gavin Newsom is not that popular there. All right, we had JD Vance talk a little bit about the stuff here. So let's take a look here. All right.
The governor of California, we have to do a better job. We need competent, good governance. Now, that doesn't mean you can't criticize the governor of California for, I think, some very bad decisions over a very long period of time. I mean, some of these reservoirs have been dry for 15, 20 years. The fire hydrants are being reported as going dry while the firefighters are trying to put out these fires. There is a serious lack of competent governance in California, and I think it's part of the reason why these fires have gotten so bad. We need to do a better job at both the state and federal level.
Yeah, I thought that was a good response. JD Vance is so much more polished than Trump, let's be honest. But that's an issue. And it's not climate change that caused them to have DEI policies. It's not climate change that caused them to tear down that dam and run out of water. It's not climate change when Gavin Newsom changed the law so people could loot without penalty. That wasn't had to do with anything to do with climate change. And that is the situation there. Here it is. Elon Musk talked about some of the nonsense here. So let's take a look at this. He retweeted something. And as he said, DEI means people will DIE, die. Yeah.
You call it powered by equity, and I know that it's been really important for the DWP to put an equity lens on everything.
Yes.
Just so you know what equity means versus equality. Equality means you treat people the same, no matter their race or sex or whatever. So in equality, you all have a chance for the job, but they're going to take the best people. It doesn't matter what race you are or sex or anything like that. Whereas equity, and this is what like Kamala Harris and the Democrats were pushing, that means no. You make sure you have the right racial balance and you penalize, let's say, like white people or even Asians in order to get more blacks or homosexuals or whatever.
Yeah, and that's the number one thing that attracted me to this role. Coming from the communities that I come, seeing what I've seen through my career in utilities and through the military. I've been in the Coast Guard 19 and a half years now, so I got
What Coast Guard? Is she from Venezuela or something?
6 more months to qualify for my 20 years, which was my original goal.
Wow, congratulations, and
thank
thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yes, service. I'm sure she did a lot.
Thank you. It's important to me that everything we do, it's with an equity lens and social justice and making sure that we right the wrongs that we've done in the past from an infrastructure perspective and that we involve the community in that process. And this utility
The community, they don't mean the white community, they mean non-whites.
is serious about it, is authentic about it. And so I'm just super excited to be part of that movement.
So this is common. This is their number one goal is not doing the job. This is the LA water chief. She makes $750,000 a year. And what attracted her to that role was social equity. And so it's not based on merit or doing the job or providing water. It's that you have the right number of perverts or men in dresses or the right racial minorities in there. And if you had a choice between hiring competent white people versus incompetent, let's say blacks, she will choose the blacks because that is equity. That's what they mean by equity. Just so when you hear that phrase, that's what they mean by it. This is kind of interesting. This is like I told a lot of these people were stuck in a bubble, these older people. They don't really realize how the world has changed. And this video is devastating, but it also provides a key insight into why so many Californians continue to voting for the left. They often live very traditional lives surrounded by thick-rooted communities that shield them from the effects of the policies they vote for. And this lady seems really nice. Let's just watch this though. But she's probably been here a long time. It doesn't mean she's cash rich, but her home is wealthy.
This is your house?
This is my house. This one right here. We moved in 26 years ago. And we did the floors and we put in windows and doors and painted and just put, my grandchildren loved it. My son and my daughter-in-law, my family, we hosted Christmas Eve and Christmas Day here. And everybody was here. My little house that I loved. My husband just has 4th cancer surgery. I poured everything into it. My nephew.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
I really am. I don't even know what to say.
That's okay. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just. We haven't been sleeping. We haven't slept. We're staying at a hotel. We have nowhere to go. We don't know what we're doing. We were close neighbors. Buzz and Todd. His mom passed away and they took over the house. John just lost his wife that he adored. But
see here, this was like the traditional American neighborhoods. Now no one knows each other, but back in the day, people, they knew each other. They raised their kids. They knew their lives. And this primarily has been lost, but not in this area. They've been living in a bubble, kind of in a time machine.
Was taking care of that house. She was a Superior Court judge, and Beverly and John, so much love. She was so incredible, and the house is gone.
I just
And
can't
Tina,
believe they're all gone. Like
they're all gone. See, Debbie and us and Tina, our children went to school together from kindergarten. Our kids are in their 47 years old, and Debbie's 47-year-old son.
So this lady must be, if their kids are 47, she's got to be probably in her 70s.
Tragically passed away last August. Her oldest child. Her grief is so deep, I can't imagine.
It is a poignant video, and that's like kind of the old America. And I've run into a lot of these, what I call rich white liberals, and they're well-meaning. They don't really understand how society's changed because they don't see it. Like, she's in her 70s, so they're probably retired. So I hate to say boomers, but she's from the boomer generation. When they went into the workplace, she didn't face, or her husband didn't face, racial discrimination because of DEI. It was, if you work hard, you could get the job. And they were able to build something. They were able to afford this home. Now they wouldn't be able to afford it in that location. And they knew their neighbors, and they were able to develop a community. But a lot of these people, because they lived that life, they still think that's the way it is, right? So when they picture, I've used this example many times, but I bet in their heads when they picture a schoolroom, like in Los Angeles, they picture like Little House on the Prairie, where a nice white teacher's up, and you have mostly white kids, a few Hispanics, a couple of nice behaved black kids. They bring the apple to the teacher, and they learn their numbers. They don't understand now. There's no whites in LA that go to school anymore. There aren't. It's all minority, and there's very little learning that goes on. And they mostly get racial grievance studies and LGBTQ propaganda, but they're immune to this. They don't understand that because they didn't live that life. They just don't know. They're just living in the previous time, and in their way of thinking of things, it's just like the poor black kids, or maybe the poor Mexicans that have to worry about being bullied by the mean white kids, because they think of bullies. They think, do you ever see that movie Back to the Future? What was the guy's name? Biff. They think of a white guy being the bully. And they really in a weird, different mindset. So they want to be considered like good people, and there are pretty much good people. I'm sure she's a real nice lady. But they think to be a good person is always to vote on the left and vote for Democrats. And they don't really understand the reality until it bites them in the ass. So I do have some sympathy towards them. They've lived a good life, so I don't really feel too sorry. I mean, I'm sorry she lost her home, but it's hard to get them understand the way the world is now because they're very isolated from it. And we saw that in general with diversity. When people don't live in diversity, they always lecture how people that live with diversity are ignorant. I always found that funny. The people that see it all the time, right? You see it here in this apartment over across the street is a very diverse apartment complex, and you see it. It's not like Hollywood shows it. It's the way it is. You guys know the way it is too, if you live around it. That's just reality. These people, like her, she doesn't live around that. She doesn't see it. She has no idea. And so that's the difference. But it's always funny, people like that will call people that actually live around it as being ignorant. And it's like, well, who's ignorant here? You're not even around it. But you see that just not here, but we used to get that from Europeans. They had no diversity. They would call us ignorant. Like, yeah, I don't know if, you're the real ignorant one. So, yeah. And the final thing about the fire. So, by the way, I am sad for people who lose their businesses, or not their businesses, but their homes. I really am. It's something I don't think we should celebrate. But at the same time, they vote for policies that have this outcome. They don't understand that, and they probably never will. They'll probably think that It's climate change and white supremacy that's causing this. All right, let's take a look here.
Are you open to providing aid to California without any conditions at all?
I think we've got to have a serious conversation about that. Obviously, there's been water resource mismanagement, forest management.
Yeah, here, California, a lot of the Republicans, I hope they hold them to this, they're saying, hey, there needs to be some accountability. We just can't throw away our federal funds in California if they're spending the money on, I don't know, gay pride parades for the fire department. We need to be able to manage the water. We need to be able to manage the forest. We need to have competent people as firemen. And we're not getting that.
Mistakes, all sorts of problems. And it does come down to leadership, and it appears to us that state and local leaders were derelict in their duty in many respects. So that's something that has to be factored in. I think there should probably be conditions on that, Dave. That's my personal view. We'll see what the consensus is. I haven't had a chance to socialize that with any of the members over the weekend because we've all been very busy, but it'll be part of the...
It's funny how the reporters now all use their iPhones or whatever to film. It's kind of funny.
Discussion for sure.
What about the debt limit increase? What about tying the debt limit increase to it?
There's some discussion about that, but we'll see where it goes.
I agree. I think there should be conditions to that. Until California makes certain reforms, they shouldn't receive any money. Because why send them money if they're just going to piss over it? You know, it's just like, it is pretty crazy. So yeah, thank you for that. And let's see here. So that was kind of the LA fires. LA woman. Wasn't that the song, the Jim Morrison song, Your Hair's on Fire? They always had wildfires in LA, even back in the 60s. Speaking of California and their problem with crime and looters, Elon Musk, that's one of the reasons he pulled out of San Francisco. And here he is right here. About a year ago, a guy tried to kill 3 ex-employees with an axe outside the former Twitter's headquarters in San Francisco. They reported it to the police, but nothing was done. So by the way, this is why violent crime is down. Well, yeah, it's down if you don't report it, right? Or the police don't report it. He later killed someone with that axe. This insanity needs to stop. Let's take a look at this here. This is New York, but this is part of the issue. And again, this is straight out of because of George Floyd. We don't want to put blacks in prison. So if they're just running around threatening people with an axe, we have to understand that. Axe. I ask you something, man.
So did you do it? Did you stab that innocent child? Did you do it? Before his arrest, police say he was out on the streets stabbing people at random. According to the NYPD, just 5 days prior to allegedly killing the teen, also on East 138th
By the way, he should be executed quickly.
Street, on the steps of the subway station there, Mejia allegedly stabbed a 38-year-old man in the arm.
We were able to quickly conclude that these 2 incidents were connected, unprovoked, and committed by the same suspect.
The suspect's criminal record dates back to 2015.
Yeah, see, this is why we need to stop these crimes when they happen. If he had been in prison, he shouldn't have been walking the street. If you can't control yourself without stealing and stabbing people with a knife, you shouldn't be on the street.
He's been arrested 4 times for burglary, arson, possession of a 9mm loaded gun, and...
The most recent one occurred on November 27th, 2024, when Mr. Mejia was arrested for stabbing another victim's Ring camera with a kitchen knife.
So he was let out right away. So he stabbed someone and he got just 5 days prior. So, you know, if you allow these criminals or savages to roam free, this is what you get. This is what you get. And it's not good. So that is what's happening. All right. And what else? Oh, I want to do a special shout out. I don't know if he's here tonight, but happy birthday belated to K-Max. He's a good supporter. I hope he had a great birthday, dude. And let's see here. We'll do some on this immigration. This is starting to bother me a little bit. And let's just take a look at this here.
We'll take steps to secure the border.
President-elect Trump's incoming borders are Tom tells us mass deportation will include workplace roundups.
Deportation. Are we on Inauguration Day? Inauguration Day? I'm not going to forecast what we're doing and where we're doing it, but you can count on worksite enforcement coming back.
ICE agents have told us they prioritize arresting undocumented immigrants with criminal records. Critics have asked, what about undocumented family members?
Well, they're all criminals because they're here illegally.
Will there be collateral arrests? Yes. It's not okay to be in this country illegally.
Homan's also working on creating a hotline where Americans can report undocumented immigrants who've committed a crime.
Well, they've all committed a crime. This is the only thing that bothers me. I hope they don't. They're kind of getting mixed messages. They all need to go. And I don't want to separate families. All the kids need to go with them. They got to go back to their homeland. I know they think it's a fate worse than death to have to live with their own people, but they can manage. They need to go over there. That way they're free from white supremacy. They can be with their own people. But I'm worried they're going to say, oh, well, just the ones that commit crimes need to be deported. Well, again, number one, they've all committed a crime because they're here illegally. But if it's a violent crime, they shouldn't get a plane ticket back to their homeland. They should go to prison or go to the cemetery. They should be executed. It'd be ridiculous. That'd be like when I was in Hungary, lived there, and I committed a crime. My punishment is Hungarian taxpayers fly me back home to America. Fuck that. They need to stand justice if they do that. So I hope that doesn't happen with, just the ones that do violent crimes. No, it needs to be, they all need to go. So, and not a hotline just to report people that do violent crimes. There should be an app. So, you're in Walmart, like, they don't look like they belong here. You take a picture of them, upload it. And then if they get deported and they were illegal, you should get a bounty. I like that. It's a bounty app. So you take a picture of these people, they're jibber jabbering away. You're in Spanish or whatever, go, and then you just send that up and then they could be checked out. I'd like that. That's what they need to do. All right. Not everyone's for this deporting the illegals, as we see here, and Elon Musk talks about. Here it is. Take a look here.
Thing is, for sanctuary cities and states, they complain about the cost, but they continue to add services. I want to show you California. As of yesterday, California has added a healthcare benefit for migrants.
So in California expands free healthcare. I don't get free healthcare. Session and I don't get free healthcare. I don't know if you guys get it. We don't. But these illegals get it.
They are now going to extend free health care to migrants between the ages of 26 and 49. That's going to cover 700,000 additional people and cost the state $2.6 billion each year. Now, that's added onto that's added onto California's deficit, which is already $68 billion.
Yeah, it's just breaking the whole system there. As Elon Musk said, this will scale to enormous numbers as California passed a bill providing free health care for illegals. Can I get free health care there? No, you have to be illegal. How do I become illegal? That took effect last year. Essentially, everyone on Earth can come to California for free health care. The Earth has 8 billion people, but California has 40 million people. And most don't pay taxes, by the way. There are not enough doctors to take care of everyone, even with infinite funding. Yeah, this is just insanity. And the same people that brought you these fires and the poor management want to give illegals free healthcare. Not you guys, the illegals. So that is what's happening. Again, our government hates our own people. It is just really crazy how that is. And let's see here. It's good to see you all here tonight. And again, I usually do my Monday streams during the morning or afternoon, but today I had some issues, which I talked about. I'm not going to repeat them. So we're doing a late stream instead tonight, but that's okay. It's kind of fun too. It's okay. Just keep everyone on their toes, right? Better late than never. Let's see here. All right, this
President
January 6th stuff.
Trump says there's a process. Where is the line drawn on who will and wouldn't be considered for a pardon?
I think it's very simple. Look, if you protested peacefully on January the 6th and you've had Merrick Garland's Department of Justice treat you like a gang member, you should be pardoned. If you committed violence on that day, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned. And there's a little bit of a gray area there, but we're very much committed to seeing the equal administration of law. And there are a lot of people, we think, in the wake of January the 6th who were prosecuted unfairly. We need to rectify that.
That seems reasonable to me. I don't know why people object to that. If people were just peacefully protesting, remember, people were just going in. They were waved in by the police. And they're taking photos. They were peaceful. And while we allow BLM literally to burn cities down and Antifa, that's outrageous. Of just good Americans were there protesting legally. And yeah, they may have trespassed, but they should not go to prison for that. Now, the ones that may have done violent acts, yeah, they should be punished. They shouldn't receive a pardon. So I'm not for a blanket pardon. And a lot of the people that were violent anyway were probably feds. So I'm fine with that. No pardons for feds or federal informants. That'll get certain people mad at me, I bet. But oh well, I think JD Vance has got that on the I think he's quite right on that one. So good for JD Vance. Oh, keep getting my notes mixed up here. There we go. Do my prep. I do my prep. All right. And then he talks a little bit about, let's see, Greenland here.
Greenland and the Panama Canal, are we using or considering use of military force in any of those situations?
No, look, we don't have to use military force, Shannon. The thing that people always ignore is we already have troops in Greenland. Greenland is really important for America strategically. It has a lot of great natural resources. My friend Donald Trump Jr. was there a couple days ago, and you know what they told him? They want to be empowered to develop. The people of Greenland want to be empowered to develop the resources there. We also need to make sure that Greenland is properly cared for from an American security perspective. And frankly, the current leadership, the Danish government, has not done a good enough job of securing Greenland. I think there actually is a real opportunity here for us to take leadership to protect America's security, to ensure that those incredible natural resources are developed. And that's what Donald Trump is good at. He's good at making deals, and I think there's a deal to be made in Greenland.
Okay.
Yeah, again, this kind of was the whole Greenland thing, and I'm not going to talk all about this like Canada. Canada should not be part of the United States. It would destroy the United States. Greenland, again, there's not that many people here, just 50,000. And if they wanted to join America, and according to polling, they do. Let me show you. See here. Breaking. Greenland supports joining the United States. They did a poll. 57.3% are for joining America. So my only concern is they're pretty left-wing. And so we'd get 2 more Democrat senators. So I'm not sure if it's worth it. And I'm not even really sure the whole the national security thing. I don't quite understand that. Because if Russia or China should invade Greenland, we could always come to their defense. We don't have to own Greenland to defend it, right? And we could say, no, Greenland's under our protection, China, you can't invade it. I don't think they would, but we could say that. Or Russia, you better not invade Greenland. I don't think that's on their plan anyway. So I don't know. I don't see the urgency to get Greenland, to be honest. I'm not really quite sure what advantages it would bring to America. And we could develop their minerals anyway. Just you come in, I mean, we do that all the time. Just negotiate deals with them and, get the natural resources. And then the natives, Eskimos or whoever lives there, they would like it. They get a lot of money. So I don't know. I don't really see the need to take over Greenland, unless I'm missing something, but I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about the whole Greenland thing. Now, Canada is a big no for me. No, we don't want Canada. That would destroy our country. We would never have a Republican president again. And Canadians, let's face it, they're pretty much all Indian now. They destroyed their country. They need to they made their bed. They need to sleep in it. And they're not really, speaking of Canada, there's this one guy. I don't know why he's here in Canada, but again, this is one of the leaders of Canada.
I have a message for Donald Trump. Our country's not for sale. Not now, not ever.
What does it mean for a country, though? Because Canada intentionally wants to have a post-nationalist country where it's not based on the people, it's not based on a religion, it's not based on a language, it's not based on anything. And it's a big fucking mess now. So what do they care if we take over a place that it doesn't mean anything?
I lived across this country, and I can tell you, Canadians are a proud people. We're proud of our country, and we're ready to fight like hell to defend it. Right now, with the
But they aren't defending it. They allowed their country to be invaded by Indians and other people. I mean, they did. So what does it even mean?
Forest fires ravaging homes. Canadian firefighters showed up. That's who we are. We show up and support our neighbors. But if Donald Trump thinks, if you think you can pick a fight with us, there'll be a price to pay. I've committed that if Donald Trump imposes tariffs on us, we should respond with retaliatory tariffs in kind. I think that anyone running as prime minister should do the same.
Yeah, Canada is already basically a third world country. And if we impose tariffs on them, they're fucked. They're really, really fucked. Because it's just sad what's happened in Canada. And it's kind of rich. What their country has already been invaded. They didn't do anything to protect themselves. So whatever. And again, I don't want Canada. It's just too big of a mess. It's too bad. The original Canadians are good people. It's a beautiful land, but we don't have, that isn't in our interest. Let them just keep their own issues up there. Speaking of which, another country that's all cucked, England. 12 world leaders have been invited to Trump's inauguration. Keir Starmer has not been invited. And this is a labor leader. And he's a guy that's defending all the, I guess they had a lot of problem with Pakistan gangs raping English girls. And this guy helped cover it up because he didn't want to be racist. What a piece of shit. So, yeah, too bad. England, they're having huge economic policies too now. Same with Canada. Anyone that adopts that left-wing woke position, they are in big trouble. Donald Trump does have a sense of humor. He did post this, so let's take a look at this. This is kind of funny.
Well, Mr. President.
For a second time. Barack, very nice to see you.
Congratulations. How you doing?
A lot better, Dad.
Yeah, I bet. Knew you'd win.
Oh, really? Oh, come on. Anyone could beat her.
Kidding
She's
me?
just...
I was just as appalled. You know what happened? You just didn't want to leave.
I know.
Is what happened. I did what I could to help her. She was horrendous.
I know. You know what I realized? Hillary still hates me. So much. I know. She'll never forget me. We should meet to discuss
I
this.
think so too. We can definitely set something up. Let me know whatever
Oh, the
works
golf?
best for you.
I was gonna fly back to Florida tomorrow for the golf.
Okay. Did you see that? She won't even look at me.
Really? I was told some of her people. Apparently they said she fell off the wagon.
She fell off the
I
wagon.
think she actually may have. Sure. And also, she's not really built for this. Amount pressure, if you're not built for it, we'll do it.
Donald Trump retweeted that. It's parody. It's parody. It's not real, but it's kind of funny. Yeah, that was, it was pretty interesting. Okay. See what we got else here. Here's some more woke stuff. I mean, I don't see how these people are helping their cause. These idiots that want to end oil. And they vandalized. You can just tell by looking at this woman, her haircut and that look. She's what we call the spiteful mutant. You know, you can't tolerate these troublemakers in society. Now, she wouldn't do this if there was a real penalty for desecrating the grave. She should be in prison for 20 years for that. So I'm not going to watch it all. I don't really care, but yeah, so that's what these environmentalists do. They desecrate graves because they think it makes them seem so virtuous and everything. No doubt she'd be fucking dead if it wasn't for oil, but this is what she thinks she is. She's pretty crazy. And let's see here. Here's a couple other stories, and we'll wrap up. I don't know this. Have you guys ever played video games? I have to be honest, just recently I downloaded I bought a video game from, I think it's called GOG or Games, what's that called? It's a site, it's not Steam, it's the other one. Heroes of Might and Magic 3. I used to love that game, and it was on sale for like $1.50. So I'm like, yeah, I'll buy it. And I am addicted. That is such a fun game. Did you guys ever play Heroes of Might and Magic? It's a turn-based game, a lot of fun. And that's when they made good games with good gameplay. And man, new games could learn from that. But Elon's been in the news because supposedly he's supposed to be one of the top gamers. And here it is. It seems like he's been cheating. Elon Musk has been live streaming himself playing overpowered Path of Exile 2 character, proudly and seriously pretending that he got there himself. And actually, PoE veterans were laughing their asses off watching and dissecting the charade. Elon, why? So it seems like Elon Musk, I was like, how do you become such a good video game player when you're running Tesla, X, and all this other stuff he's doing, you know, for the Trump administration? How do you have time? Because these geeks that are the top in the world, they spend hours, they spend all day doing this. And it turns out, well, let's take a look here. We'll just take a look at this here.
Out a little bit by assistant every now and then. The reality is this. I thought there was a bar. Assistant does a lot of grinding. This is Elon here, right? And this is like his assistant or whatever, right? But actually, it's like this. This is what Elon's doing. He's got a tab called Elon's Maps that is 5%. And this is some guy in fucking Asia, dude.
He's got like some Chinese guy that plays the character in game for him.
Random guy. And then he's saying, oh, yes, I'm the top 100. My guy, I was playing it. I did all this stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm the number one guy. I'm going to go.
I'm going to have a retake. I'm going to retake Quinn's take here. This isn't a random guy. This is like a handsomely paid top Path of Exile gamer. Okay.
Yeah, there are like professional gamers. I never knew there was such a thing, but some of them make quite a bit of money. When I was visiting Romania, of all places, Bucharest, they had a gaming place and they were having a gaming competition. And this couple of geeks came in. They were like professional gamers. And they had like groupies. They had these girls around them like, woo! And they coming in and they're going to kick ass. I know, it's the weirdest thing. So it seems like in Asia, Elon Musk hired one of these guys to play the game for him. So that'd be like if I was playing chess online And to get my rating higher, I don't really play 98% of the games. I have Magnus Carlsen. I have him play. I pay him to play all the games for me. I'm like, I'm like a chess master. I am so good. I'm one of the top chess players in the world. And it's actually Magnus Carlsen playing the games.
There's definitely one winner in this situation, guys. This random guy. This guy is winning right now. Okay, he is winning. I hate to break to you, Elon. You're not a top 100 anymore. I'm gonna need some overtime. This guy, he's got the richest person on the planet by the balls. Okay.
On a podcast and talk about I'm the best guy and I rank 1. I'm one of the best players. What can I say? It takes a lot of skill. Whenever you have no idea what the fuck, you can't even put a map into the fucking map device. You're calling like the modifiers on the maps like things. You're getting the map tiers wrong entirely, like just straight up. Like, he clearly has no idea what the fuck's going on.
So people that play this game, and I don't know what they're talking about, but by watching him when he plays, they could tell he's not really that good, Elon Musk. So this is a little thing. I know it's not a big to-do, but think about it. You're the richest guy in the world. You're famous, and you have to pay someone to help you cheat at games. It's like, why? What do you need that? What do you need that affirmation? This is crazy. I don't know. Maybe Elon will straighten that out, but it sounds pretty weird. All right. The last story before we have our little dog thing. Manhattan. They have got rid of a lot of the congestion in Manhattan. Take a look at this. America gives a follow-up New York congestion report after Democrats started the new congestion pricing in Manhattan. This is during rush hour. This is what it looks at 5:13 p.m. in Manhattan. Still a literal ghost town. R.I. Rest in peace, New York businesses and residents.
What's good, y'all? Some of y'all requested the rush hour report. So here we go. Still no traffic. Roads is looking nice and clean. No more Christmas trees. Traffic agents, their hours got cut. We good. No traffic over here. Looking good to go to Jersey. Nice and clear.
Yeah, so what they did is they charge you now to get in Manhattan a lot of money. And so everyone's not going there. But it could be just devastating the restaurants and everything else there. So it's pretty crazy. So Manhattan, no congestion whatsoever there. All right. Okay, let's just finish up here. Let's see here. Oh, I was talking about a dog and herding skills. This is what a herding dog can do. Sheepdog. This is basically training, but it's also genetics. Pretty amazing. I like this. Here he goes. Getting sheep. So this rancher wants the dog to get the sheep.
Come by.
His job is to round up the sheep and bring them in the pen. Look at that dog go. Just
Come by. Hit. Come by.
Just hauling ass out there, that dog. He's got all the, look at those sheep, man. He's got all the sheep. He's herding all the sheep into the pen. Hey, you forgot some over there, so he's going to round them up. There he goes. Come on, you two, get going. The dog is trained to respond to whistles.
Good girl, Stormy. Yeah. Good girl, yes, good girl.
He's a proud dog. Did his work. That is so cool. Dogs are so cool. Okay. let's see. I just want to make sure I got everything. I think I have. Thank you guys for being with me. Kind of an impromptu stream. It's good to be here with you guys tonight. And tomorrow, I have my roundtable at noon. So I'll set that up. And if you guys want to be part of that, just join my Substack. I put the link out there. And thank you guys for all being here. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.